that you mentioned that Georgia's able to do that they don't know what you're going to do?
Yeah, well, we go in. Yeah, we do. We strive for that, and sometimes it can get skewed, but we go into every game, we go into every season, really trying to have balance in what we do. And sometimes, it gets skewed because of what they're giving us. Our system is built, where last year's touchdown to Sammy Watkins, the play right after the long 75-yard touchdown that I still wake up seeing with Gurley. The very next play when we scored however long that was, 60, 70 yards, whatever, that was a run call. That was a run call. Taj Boyd got us in the right play. And we're all celebrating on the sideline. Great play. Everybody's blocking run. Except Sammy and Taj. And our system is coached that way. Our system is built to where you take what's there, and sometimes you're reading first level, sometimes it's second level, sometimes it's third level. And I think that's just an example sometimes where you may, and there was a lot of other examples. Last year in the bowl game, a bunch of those passes were run calls. And so, our quarterback has the freedom and flexibility within our system to take what's there. And but we go into every game, every season trying to create that balance. We have to have a physical, hard-nosed running presence. We have to have that, and that's what we want. But we're not going to be the village idiot either. We're going to do what we got to do to win. And ideally we want to be able to run it when we want to run it, throw it when we want to throw it. That's everybody's ultimate goal. But you have to adjust, from week to week and game to game.
Any questions? First, how's Stanton doing after last night? And secondly, Jordan being the starter, he got talked about a lot last year because of his lazy comments. Has he gotten better that way, or is he just?
Oh no, he's had an outstanding spring and fall. I think Jordan Leggett is going to be a special player. He's still developing into that, but I think that his motor, his sense of urgency, his understanding of the bigger picture has changed dramatically from where we were this time last year. It's amazing what a difference a year makes. It really is. Especially with what we do. You're dealing with young people, and this time last year, I had guys. J-Ron didn't know what he was doing. Jadar didn't have any confidence, didn't know what he was doing, and you're getting ready to go play Georgia. And now, I got two guys that really are good players, and just different mentally, different physically, confidence, all those things. And that's what time does. I think that that's just all part of the process that they go through. Yeah, Stanton's fine. He looked good last night. He's ready to go. He's ready to go. But Leggett is I think sharp. And Cooper this time last year, same thing. He was just coming off that injury and trying to get ready to play. And man, he's another one that's I think going to be a valuable part of what we do this year. Very strong, physically and mentally sharp, and healthy. No, Cooper is definitely the most physical guy we got. I think Leggett and JJ and Stanton, they've all made big strides in that area. But they're not. Cooper's a fifth-year senior, 250-something pound guy that he's just built a little bit differently right now. But a lot of that just comes from experience. He wasn't that way when he got here, but I think he's really become a good player at the point of attack for us. And I think Leggett and McCullough and Stanton are going to get there too. They're a lot better than they were last year, but they're not finished products by any means.
I asked this before, but for the last 6 weeks or 7 weeks, Coach Morris has been on this. We're not getting any respect. We got to play with a chip on our shoulder. We got to be angry. We got to be ourselves. I've noticed yesterday he's ratcheted it down. He seems to be just in game week mode, very relaxed and all. But did you share any of that or do you think that was just purely a motivational tool?
No, I mean, it's just his opinion. I mean, he's with the guys every single day, close-knit group, and I mean, for however long, since January, that's all anybody talks about is who we don't have. We get reminded of that over and over and over, but there's a lot of guys that we do have that have also been a huge part of winning a bunch of games. And I think that's just his way of, just kind of challenging his guys a little bit. It's game week, all the talking's over with. I mean, it's time to go play, and we'll see where we are. Next Tuesday when I'm in here with y'all, y'all have something specific to ask me about Saturday night, I'm sure. I don't think it's all going to go perfect. Even if we win, I'm sure there's going to be some bad mixed in there. So we won last year, and we had 5 rushes for 160 yards or 67 yards on 5 plays. So there was plenty of bad in last year's game too. We found a way to win, and I'm sure it'll be the same this year as far as win or lose. There'll be a lot of good, there'll be a lot of bad. But I think it's going to be a great ball game. I think 2 teams that want to get out to a good start. Obviously, they're playing at home, and the energy that comes with that. I'd be shocked if it's not a humdinger.
In the category you just described. What I mean by that is, because people haven't seen him a whole lot in the field, do you think people underestimate how much actual experience he has?
He's way more experienced than Taj Boyd was. I mean, heck, when Taj started, he knows a lot more than Taj knew, and again, he's got a lot more experience to draw upon playing college football than Taj had when Taj became our starter in 2011 as a sophomore. And I remember that year specifically because they're like, oh man, they got a rookie starter and they got all this, and I remember we had to play Florida State, Auburn, Virginia Tech. It was just a very difficult, challenging schedule. That bunch of freshmen playing in a lot of different areas, Taj got better throughout the year. I think it's different in that I think Cole's very talented, but I think he's got more experience to draw upon than what people give him credit for. But that's just a natural thing. I mean Taj Boyd, this is a guy he's made a lot of huge plays and won a bunch of games. And so you lose a guy like that. And I think it's the same thing with Georgia and losing Aaron Murray. But hey, Mason's pretty good now. He runs the ball better than you might think he does. And he's very, very capable. And I'm sure he's very confident too, because he did get that experience, a little bit of experience of being the guy and the pressure that comes with that. And so I think they're very similar situations in that standpoint. But Cole's a talented player, and I'd be surprised if he doesn't play well.
You guys get him on Cole first, then being from Ohio, and that not being a game area.
Somebody, I can't remember how we first got on. Somebody sent us a clip or something. I don't remember. It might have been his dad. I can't remember who sent us the clip of him. We were looking for a guy, and I remember sitting down with Billy, and Billy liked him. I knew who he was right off the gate because I was intrigued because I knew his dad. His dad was the old Birmingham Stallions quarterback, and 2 years of USFL football. I was a high schooler. I'd go watch the Stallions play all the time because I could get in free. Because my trainer at the school was the trainer for the Stallions, so I'd go watch them all the time. I remember all those guys. I remember Cliff Stout very well. So then watch the tape. You saw this big old gangly, long-legged guy. He was probably only about 185, 190 pounds, maybe. So he was a late bloomer and had good potential, and he was kind of, what we were looking for at the time. And so it just worked out. It just happened to be he was from, up in Ohio. I remember flying in up there because I landed at the Ohio State University Airport, first time I'd ever been there, and he was probably only about 20 minutes, from campus, Dublin Kaufman High School up there. But I'm really glad we got him. Unfortunately, as I've said many times, we weren't able to redshirt him. He was the backup the day he got here as a true freshman. But he's done a great job for us. He's a team guy, and he's worked very hard to control the things that he controls. And you just look at his development physically. I've seen his development mentally. maturity-wise, academically, everything. He's a guy that's all in and committed to Clemson, and he's done everything he can to maximize his experience. Now he's got to go play well as the guy, and I think we've got a dynamic that's going to really produce good quarterback play, and that you have a senior with a high level of urgency, to prepare and to play well, and then you got this freshman over here who's not just content to go stand on the sideline. He's trying to get better every day. He's trying to get on the field, and so he's bringing this high system. And they're great kids, and they get along so well. It's just a good situation. That at the end of the day, what do we want? We want good quarterback play, and I think that dynamic will help produce that as we go throughout the year.
Coach, is there any sense of perhaps concern with Watson if he gets into the game that he's a young kid? Maybe he has to make the most of his limited opportunities perhaps on the field at that time, and he might fall into that category making mistakes because he's trying to do too much in his limited play? Or have you talked to him about just trying to stay within himself when and if his number gets called?
No concern. I mean, all we can do is evaluate what we've seen in practice, and he's demonstrated great poise in practice, and I don't expect that to change. But you can't be afraid to play. If you're going to commit to playing, and you play, and you live with the results.
The guys you suspended for this game months ago, how have they held up in the off season during camp? Have they kept their minds in the game? And was there ever a thought that, hey, if these guys are doing what I've asked and doing well, that maybe I'll let them play?
There was some thought on their side of that, and they have done well. I'm very proud of those guys. Really am. I mean, they've had good effort, good energy, and probably will take them with us if they want to go. I'll leave that up to them. But good guys, and like I said, sometimes you just have things within your team that you have to address, and I think you have to protect your culture a little bit, and sometimes it's sitting a guy down, and that's just the way it will always be. I'm sure there'll be something else as we go throughout the year that you deal with from time to time. That's just always the case, but these guys sometimes the quickest way to get their attention is to let them sit on that sideline. Sure wish I had them, but hey, that's their consequence, for a decision they make. But hey, they've handled it well, and no issues. They've practiced well, and be excited to get those guys back. We need them.
You get to see Gurley for the second straight year. How do you rank him among the running backs that you have coached against in your career?
He's a beast. I mean, he's been against a lot of good ones over the years. Saw a bunch of good ones when I was at Alabama, both at Alabama and at Auburn. Saw a bunch of great ones at Tennessee. And then the Jamal Lewises, those cats that they had up there at Tennessee. I've seen a bunch of great backs. Some of them that's been down there at Florida. Seen some great ones at Florida State over the year. I mean, a bunch of backs. I coached against Eddie George when I was at Alabama. I'd never seen a guy like him ever. I remember going specifically. We had a bowl function, and I'm a young coach, and I remember going to the bowl function, and both teams were there, and this guy, and I broke all the film down. I knew, I had everything. I knew him better than the coaches knew him, personnel. And I remember seeing this guy, and I'm like, we are fixing to get our butts handed to us. I mean, who's tackling that guy? I mean, he looked like a defensive end, playing tailback. I mean, just unbelievable. And from time to time, you come across guys like that, and I think he's a unique guy. I mean, the combination that he has, just the size, the speed, the strength. I perceive him to be a great worker. He seems that way. He's got a big motor to him, and he's just unique. From a total package standpoint. Other guys are unique for maybe one thing here or there, but he's the total package. he's a great receiver. He led them in receiving touchdowns last year. Everybody talks about him running the ball. I think he had like 6 touchdown catches to lead the team, maybe 30-something catches, and he missed several games. Still rushed for almost 1,000 yards. He's just a dynamic player, and you know what, Marshall, he's not far behind him. He just doesn't have some of the measurables that Gurley has. But Marshall is a great back, and it's unfortunate that he got hurt last year, but they're running back rich over at Georgia. That's from a experience standpoint and the youth that they have. They got some really good freshmen that they've got in there, but just the combination of the size and the speed is rare.
Earlier, Marshall be able to think
No. I mean, hey, everybody makes their decisions. I don't spend much time thinking about all that. If I'd got them, I wouldn't have some of these great guys that I have here. And I love all the guys we got on this roster, and those guys made their decisions, and I supported. Hey, happy for them. They were nothing but just class acts in the recruiting process. And at the end of the day, hey, you're gonna get some, you're not gonna get some, and they did what they thought's best for them. That's okay. But no, I don't sit around, wondering about that. Now, I dream about having Spiller and Watkins back together here, and what I could do with that. Now, that would be maybe have Ellington over here in the slot or something, bring him back. A lot of Dwayne Allen too. I might think about that sometime, but I don't worry about them guys we're gonna get. Nuke, I'll take him too. He's pretty good. Bring him on back too.
Would you say that Cole has the potential to run this offense at a faster tempo than last year, where we're at right now?
I hope so. I think that we've got some young wideouts that are going to fill some depth positions. That's a little bit different for us than last year. But that's one of the things that we've really challenged Cole with, areas that we can improve. We feel like we can play faster, number one. We feel like that we can take less sacks. Just the quarterback. And I'm not talking about the OL. You say sack, and everybody blames the offensive line. Sacks are on everybody. But if we can just improve at that position and take less quarterback sacks that are really 100% on the quarterback, better ball security, making good decisions so that we can cut the tackles for losses down. Some of the tackles for losses, everybody's booing us, but we didn't make the right decision. And if we make the right decision, we stay on schedule. So those are some things that we've challenged him with, and hopefully, as a result of that, we can play a little faster. But we'll see.